I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Fulton County public defender doesn't show up for court 3 times, leading to the inmate being brutally attacked. Salute to the chat. Salute to my moderators. Salute to the replay gang. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Salute to the chat. I will come down to the chat and chop it up with you all. Just give me a few seconds. Shout out to civil rights advocate, my brother, John C. Barnett, for holding it down and being on the front line for justice for so many victims and their families. Now, I'm going to just go straight into the clip, and then we're going to come back and we'll chop it up. But another sad case coming out of Fulton County. All right.
Meantime, we want to take you to the Fulton County Jail. Boy, where problems persist as an inmate is facing charges for assaulting another inmate. Angelique Proctor following this story for us. Angelique, the victim, we understand, is in very, very serious condition this afternoon.
That is right, Tom. We are actually at Grady Memorial Hospital, where Terriana Ledbetter is still here on life support in critical condition inside the intensive care unit. And her family spoke out for the first time today. This is a family that is really hurting, a family just devastated by this development. And they tell me they have so many questions about how and why this happened to her while she was in the custody of the Fulton County Jail. Now, take a look at this picture. This was shared with us by her family. This is the 20-year-old from her hospital bed. Now, her mother says that Terriana really does not even look like herself and that she is unresponsive at this time. The mother says the 21-year-old is on life support, as I stated. We also learned today that she is disabled, and her mother says she reads on a 6th grade level. Gloria Buckner, who is the mother, says she believes her daughter should have never been in a cell with the 27-year-old Shania White. Now, White has been charged with aggravated assault, aggravated battery, and tampering with evidence. But many supporters of the Ledbetter family believe the entire system failed this inmate. John C. Barnett traveled to Atlanta from Mississippi to address this case.
And she's been here for 6 months. And the first court date, public defender didn't show up. Second court date, public defender didn't show up. Third court date, public defender didn't show up, which kind of makes me believe that if by chance he had showed up and got a bond hearing for Miss Gloria's daughter, she may not have gotten beaten so bad last week.
Now, let's just stay right there, everybody, with the public defender not showing up for three times. Now, we all know if a defendant doesn't show up one time, that defendant is going to be in big trouble. A warrant is going to be issued for that defendant. See, this has always been a big problem to me when it comes to the system. You know, it seems like they can make as many mistakes as they want to. But the second we make a mistake, we get penalized. We get arrested. We get thrown in jail. We have to face the consequence. Now, here's my thing. Now, I could understand if it was a paid attorney. And even then, still, if it was a paid attorney, I'm sure the paid attorney could have someone to fill in for him or her. But this is a public defender. This is a court-appointed attorney. Okay, now the first time, okay, things happen. But now the second time, I don't know. But here comes a third time. Now, in my opinion, the first time, all right. But even in that first time, then the public defender could have had somebody to replace him. There are thousands of public defenders in Fulton County. Because see what happens when the public defender don't show up, the case with this young lady, the case probably is a BS case in the first place. And it's probably a case that is going to be thrown out. But because the PD didn't show up, so now they got to postpone the court date. The defendant, the inmate got to go back to the jail. And sometimes, if any of you all have ever dealt with the court system, if any of you all have ever been locked up and detained and waiting for a new court date, sometimes a new court date can be 3 months, 6 months, sometimes a year before you get back in to see the judge. But take note that 3 times the PD didn't show up. 3 times, no PD shows up.
Second problem. This is a problem inside this jail. The Department of Justice already has some umbrella over this jail in reference to the treatment and the way it looks. It's probably number 2 compared to the Parchment prison. That prison, they said it's inhumane. Even a dog don't need to stay there. This is number 2 to me. And so in saying that, the third bullet, of course, is the court date is backed up, the court dockets. And it's imperative that the sheriff department get with the public defenders and the public defenders get with the court clerk of courts so they can schedule these court dates to get these women out of here. And I would say a fourth bullet would be mental health. This lady has special needs. So you put special needs at ripe age of 20. She's turned 20, and yet she's beaten to death and left under the bed. She was found under the bed.
For 5 days. 4 to 5 days, she was left unresponsive. How do you do that? What happened to count? I mean, whenever you are incarcerated, federal prison, state prison, county jail, they do a count. And that's the COs making their rounds and counting each inmate. What happened when count time came? And as the brother John says, you take a mental illness inmate, the mom will tell y'all that she only reads at a 6th to 7th grade reading level, and you place her in there. She's 20, 21 years old. You place her in there with a 27-year-old. Disaster is bound to happen. And let me just say this. Please stay out of jail. Look, I know sometimes it may be easier said than done, but it's no future in getting locked up. It's no future in going to prison. And if it's anybody out there that's never been in trouble before and you're thinking about breaking the law, think twice. Think twice. Unless you can fight, unless you're ready to fight, unless you ready to take somebody's life, jail is no place that you want to go. Some of y'all might say, but Shang, I don't mess with nobody. I'm going to be all right. That's not how it works behind the wall. Because you're dealing with all kind of people. And you might be a good-hearted person. You might be up to no, you might be good and you just want to do your time, but you still got those miserable folks around you. And when it comes to sharing a cell, you don't know who it is that's sleeping over top of you in that cell. You don't know who it is that's sleeping underneath you in that cell. The littlest things trigger them. You might be dealing with a cellie that's looking at 100 years. You might be dealing with a cellie that got 100 years. Not gonna never see the streets. You might be in there on a petty crime. You might be getting ready to be released in a couple months or a few years. Ain't no telling what he or she thinking. The littlest things, because you got to remember, you sharing this bathroom. I call it a bathroom. You sharing a bathroom with another individual. Y'all got to sleep in there together. Y'all locked down. Some jails, y'all locked down 23 hours a day. So you always got to take in consideration, always got to keep in mind, the littlest thing can tick off your cellie. So if you're not ready to take a life, if you can't fight or if you ain't ready to fight, please stay out of jail. And I know in some cases that's, a few years too late, but please stay out of jail.
And another allegation from this family, they are saying that the Fulton County Sheriff's Office did not contact them immediately after this attack. They went on to say that once they did talk with Sheriff Patrick Labatt, they describe him as being insensitive, and they went on to say that he even got angry with Miss Buckner while talking about the case.
She's basically reading on a 6th grade level, and you throw a 20-year-old in a week after her birthday and you hand her back to me and say this is mine. I demand justice. I demand for Fulton County to give me my answers. I demand for them to let my child go, and immediately within the next 24 hours.
Right.
Like, I am tired of waiting and having to still go through your messed up system, to where this is a shame for any person to get locked up and not have the support in the jail, no matter what they have done. These people still deserve to be punished the way that they should, but not treated like animals, dogs, and it's just unfit, crowded. And you take a 27-year-old with a 20-year-old that's reading on a 6th grade level and beat my baby like she was nothing, let alone you let 5-6 days go by and media people know, and I did not know what happened or where my child was.
And y'all see that they do this so much. They will contact the media, but won't contact the immediate family members. The immediate family members have to hear of these tragedies by media. Tone says this is wild. Her daughter is autistic and should have never been in there. That's facts. That's facts. And then not to notify Mom Dukes, not to notify the family. I get so many cases. We hear of so many cases where the family members, they find out about what has happened to their loved ones on social media or either the local news. Why not contact the family member? See, for me, it's all about compassion, being compassionate, because you can feel a certain way about somebody. And in some cases, some people's attitudes and some people's behavior, hey, look, it is what it is. Not that they deserve to get what they got, but you can understand. But then on the flip side of things, you got to always take in consideration that that person, that individual has a father, has a mother, has children, has a wife, has a husband. So you don't have compassion for the families of these victims. What about her mom? This is sad. Fulton County definitely needs to reevaluate how things are done. And this is what I always say. As a country, we are so busy worried about being the police of the world. We want to go and fix every other country. We want to partake in their problems to help fix them when we can't even fix the smallest problems right here in our own backyards? And it's no disrespect to any other nations, any other countries. You don't see them trying to come over here and fix our problems. Name me one country, name me one nation that is worried about coming over here to the United States of America and trying to help fix our problems. So why are we always so quick to run to the other countries to try to fix their problems when we have so many problems here? And as a nation, the problems that we have in this country affects you and I. These problems affects us all. When will we fix our problems? When will we fix our system? It's like a revolving door. It just keep going around. You know, the things that needs to be fixed, it never gets fixed. You know, exactly what kind of nation are we? I'm just asking. What kind of nation is the United States of America? I don't know. It's supposed to be a Christian nation. But if it was a Christian nation, then it would be ran off of Christian principles. I'm just saying.
Now, the national activist says he plans to notify the FBI, the GBI, and the Justice Department to have all of them take a closer look at the Fulton County Jail. Keep in mind there is already a consent decree, and the Justice Department had already been investigating the jail, and so they want to see those investigators to return back to the jail because they believe this jail should be closed. Now, we did ask questions. The one question that the advocate kept asking is how many more people have to die or be injured like this before something is done. And keep in mind, this young lady is still here on life support. Her mother says she has injuries all over her body.
Wow. Anybody that have any family members in the Fulton County jail lockup, check on your people. Anybody that have family in any county, state, or city, and even federal lockup, please check on your people. Tone says, had her public defender shown up the first time and argued her mental illness, she probably would have gotten bond. Facts. That's facts, Tone. She definitely would have gotten bond. If not, whatever she was being charged with, it probably would have got dismissed. But I'm sure the PD would have argued that, you know, she's suffering from mental illness. I see you, VT. And this is why I stress on every demonstration, and I'm going to keep stressing it. Today, I'm advocating for this young lady and her family. Tomorrow, I might be advocating for your family members. We gotta get involved. We have to get involved, y'all. We gotta use our social media platforms to spread awareness. If you are a big platform, especially for those platforms that have millions of followers, y'all definitely should be covering these kind of cases. You know, even if you a small platform, it ain't gonna hurt you. It won't hurt a small platform. It won't hurt a big platform to cover these small cases. I know y'all got y'all regular cases, and I know y'all got y'all regular things that y'all do on y'all platform. And I understand that. Hey, I got my regulars over here. But as y'all can see, every now and then, I'll slide away I'll slide away for a week or two to bring awareness to these kind of cases to help push it. You know, sometimes you ain't going to always be able to get a lot of numbers on your content. That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you ain't going to be able to have a whole lot of people in your live chats. That's okay. You know the demonstrations that you're going to do where you're going to get them numbers. So let's start using our platforms to help push these cases out there. Because when the news, when they get the cases, y'all know they only going to put out but so much. They ain't going to take a deep dive. They're going to give you probably a good, 5 to 10 minutes? That's it. They won't give you all the information that a content creator like myself and others will give y'all. But it's up to us as content creators and the subscribers as well. The followers, y'all got social media platforms. I know y'all on Facebook. You know, y'all could go live and talk about the case or share the case out. That's the only way things are going to change. We, the people, if you go back in history, if you go back in time, all of our heroes, all of our leaders that we looked up to, they took time out, they sacrificed, and they got out there to make a difference for us. For us. Now, what are we doing? What are we doing? You know, we're the elders now. Martin Luther King and the rest of those before our time, they laid down their life. They laid down their freedom. They made a change. They done what they were supposed to have done. But are you and I sacrificing our time, our life, and our freedom to make a change? Change. It ain't coming from heaven. Change. It ain't coming from Jesus. Change. It ain't coming from Allah. Change ain't coming from Jehovah. Change ain't coming from the president. Change is going to come from the people. And I don't mean to disrespect no religions. I don't mean to step on nobody's toes. But I'm just keeping it real with y'all. Martin Luther King and all those from the 50s and 60s, they didn't sit around and wait. They done what? They got out and they made the change. Coffee Girl says picking on the weaker is pitiful. Big Mama says so true. The news don't put these cases out there, and there's hundreds of them. And y'all know, especially when it comes to us, as melanated people, as black people, we got a double whammy. We got a double whammy when it comes to our cases getting put out there. And then when our cases do get put out there, 9 out of 10 times, they're going to not have us as the victims when we are. 9 times out of 10, they're going to drag up our background, our criminal background. They're going to drag up our family. They're going to drag up so much to darken up our character and our reputation. And then it's going to make the average person that's watching feel like, well, Shank Rock, he did this, and Shank Rock, he did that, and Shank Rock, he was always calling people funky asses. But y'all understand what I'm saying? But they ain't gonna just only do Shank Rock like that. They gonna do you. They gonna do all of us like that. I mean, that's just how they roll. I see you, Mari. Let me read your comment again, Big Mama. So true. The news don't put these cases out there, and there's hundreds of them. I see you, Mari. Arius1 says, I typically share the information across my various media accounts. And I thank you for that, Arius1. I thank you for that. Appreciate your super sticker, Mari. And we do have a goal of 15 super stickers or super chats. If you would like to help me reach my goal, just click on the $ symbol and purchase a super sticker or a super chat. I would love to have the platform on a major level. I would love, and those are my dreams and those are my goals, to get my platform to be a major platform. But it takes time and it takes finances. But I'm in it for the long haul. PJ says facts. Big Mama says they will lie about the circumstances every time. You know, every time. So that's why when I get an opportunity to interview the family members, that's why I always start off with, tell us what type of son, tell us what type of dad, tell us what type of loved one, tell us what he was or what she was, you know, because we get enough of the slandering our characters as it is. I don't operate like that. I want to know the good things about him or her, you know, because I want the world, I want everybody that's watching to see that this just wasn't no stray animal. Now, the mom may be joining me in a few days from now. I will let everybody know. The mom will be joining me in a few days, and we'll get an opportunity to hear from mom. But Fulton County, y'all should be ashamed of yourself, you know, and then not to go political, but I'm going to go political. And this is, you know, people always say, you got to vote, right? How long have we been voting? Well, see, Shank, that's the problem. Black people don't vote. You's a lie. Black people been voting since black people could vote. We always voted, and we still vote. But ask yourself, how is it that no matter who we vote for, no matter who get in the office, local elections, all of the above, have y'all noticed that things still haven't changed? Have y'all noticed that? Even when we vote in black people, things still haven't changed. Y'all don't notice that. You be like, God damn. It seems like every time we get a black mayor, y'all notice it always be some kind of scandal. I'm not going to say all, but y'all notice whenever black people get in office, there's always some kind of scandal going on. As if they were sabotaged from the beginning. Now, I got a case, y'all. I see you, Karen. I see you, Karen. And I'm not sure when I'm going to cover this case, but it's a case. Let me make sure I grab it. And this goes all the way back to Martin Luther King, right? And I'm going to give y'all some homework to do. So when I do this demonstration, y'all will already be up and up on the demonstration, right? Appreciate that, Mari. I think I already read it. Mari says, and they're not going to, and that's sad to say, it's their job to keep us down. Facts. But did y'all know that there was an FBI informant, a black woman, by the name of Julia Clarice Brown? And she was angry that Martin Luther King wanted reparations. See, but y'all see how the enemy works. And I'm going to tell y'all how. Big Mama says, yes, I don't know why it's controversy with the leaders. Now, they only gave us Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. They only gave us Martin Luther King's peaceful demonstrations, right? But the other side of Martin Luther King, and everybody got two sides. Everybody. I got two sides. You got two sides. He got two sides. And she got two sides. Everybody got two sides to them. They only gave us one side of Martin Luther King. Why they didn't teach us Martin Luther King was asking for reparations. See, they left that out. But I'm going to be covering this story, and it's about the FBI informant, Julia Clarice Brown. And she didn't have nothing nice to say about Martin Luther King. Oh, honey, there are many more speeches. Exactly, Arias. Exactly. You would have thought, shout out to the minister, Louis Farrakhan. You would have thought that this FBI informant, Clarice, was talking about maybe Malcolm X, the minister Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad, Khalid Muhammad, maybe the Black Panthers. I mean, she had the most to say about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, y'all. Mari says they tell us to vote for them, but when they get in, it's another story. And they've been pulling this over on us for years. For years, y'all. And it's sad. I'm going to go to one more clip, and then we're going to get out of here, y'all. I'm not going to hold y'all that much longer. Let me let this finish riding.
Boy, Angelique, your heart goes out to that family, especially listening to them and the attorney at the news conference there. So, you know, when I'm listening to all this happen, I'm thinking this is happening on both sides of the jail, the men's side and the women's side.
Right. That is what their allegation.
My bad.
Body, Tom.
Boy, Angelique, your heart goes out to that family, especially listening to them and the attorney at the news conference there. So, you know, when I'm listening to all this happen, I'm thinking this is happening on both sides of the jail, the men's side and the women's side.
Right. That is what their allegation is. And one of the things that they spoke about is that they believe that the public defender's office also failed Ms. Ledbetter because they say she had 3 court hearings where the public defender did not show up. The mother says she went to the courtroom, but the public defender was not there and the case was not called. And they believe if she could have possibly had a bond hearing earlier, since she had been at the jail for 6 months, that maybe she could have been out on bond and avoided what has been described by the sheriff's office as an attack.
Yeah, and you mentioned Patrick Labat. Has he commented at all on this case and the condition of this jail victim who's now clinging to life at Grady?
Well, I have reached out to the sheriff's office. They did point out that they met with this family, and they said that the condition of Ms. Ledbetter is at the top of mind for the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. But keep in mind, this family said something to the contrary of that this afternoon. They described Sheriff Labat as being insensitive, and they said that they really felt like he just did not care. And so I've reached back out to the sheriff to try to get some response from him. So we are waiting on that.
And let me let it finish riding.
And the folks who are calling for this jail to be closed, I mean, that's sort of, we've moved beyond that, and they voted to repair it instead, correct? So that's no longer even a possibility.
Correct. That is not going to happen, Tom, or at least it looks like it's not going to happen, because at this point, Like you said, the Fulton County Commissioners plan to renovate this jail, and they have already voted on that. So those are their plans.
And you know what they're going to say? Well, y'all need to stop getting arrested and y'all need to stop getting locked up and this and that. Yeah, well, last time I checked, taxpayers pay a lot of money for these inmates to be housed, for these inmates to be fed, and for these inmates to be taken care of. So that's the least that y'all could do, is take care of these inmates. PJ says, let's go, Shank. That part I often say to my people, we never see no change. I don't give a damn who's in position, never no change, just straight BS. That's facts, PJ. That's facts. Never no change. And I'm going to come back to that, PJ. Appreciate this super sticker, Mary. Appreciate the super sticker, Missy. I see you, Mariah and Karai. Now, just building off of PJ, it's never no change, y'all. And I be really wanting to just straight keep it real. But I know, excuse me, y'all, I do know that a lot of our people are still in the dark. And I'm aware that a lot of my subscribers, and I'm not throwing no shade, so please don't take it the wrong way, but I realize a lot of my subscribers are still in the dark. And I don't want to, you know what I mean, quote unquote, run nobody away. But I really be wanting to, keep it real all the way across the monopoly board. I really do. You know, it's BS, y'all. And they fed our forefathers and foremothers the same BS. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Don't think that what we're going through today, don't think that it's new. This is how they treated our forefathers and our foremothers. This is how they treated the ancestors. Y'all know what I'm talking about? When will Black lives matter? And I'm going to tell y'all, Black lives is not going to matter until we as Black people make sure that Black lives matter. We can protest. We can march in the streets. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. We could scream it to the top of our lungs. But until we as Black people make that change, we got a lot of work to do. A lot to make the change. That's the only way we're going to receive justice. They ain't giving it to us. They ain't giving it to us. So we can keep marching and protesting and praying. We can keep doing all that. We've been marching and protesting. Yes or no? We've been praying. Yes or no? And in my opinion, things have gotten worse over the years. Because some of y'all might say, Shank, things did get better. We got education. We got better schools. We can now live in white folks' neighborhoods. I'm talking to my Black folks. Other people might not understand what I'm saying. But this is Black folks' language. Black folks know what I'm talking about. And I got to talk to Black folks. All right? So everybody else, go ahead to the back of the bus. Arius One says, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And it's a lot that know what I'm talking about. I think more of my subscribers can relate to what I'm talking about. I think the majority of us over here knows this. I think it's still a small percentage that's still in the dark. Unfortunately, nothing has changed. Ain't nothing changed. For the better, now for the worse, look at us. Look at us. Just look on social media and just look at us. I know exactly what you're talking about, Shank. I'm OG 69 years young. Shout out to PJ. So PJ knows exactly. PJ knows more than me. PJ's been around, so she knows. You know, we gotta work. We gotta stop focusing on the past. And we gotta focus on the present. We gotta focus on the future. We gotta stop focusing on our leaders, our ancestors. Now, I want to talk to people about that. We are the leaders. We are the elders. We are the ancestors. Now, when our children and our grandchildren, when they come up of age and they speak on the ancestors, the elders, y'all know who they should be referring to. They should be referring to us as the ancestors. They should be referring to us as the elders to guide them and lead them. But what are we leaving behind for them as ancestors and elders? What blueprint, what formula have we laid down? We can't use the formula from the 40s, the 50s, and 60s. Well, why not, Shank? Because that formula was for those times in 20 to 30 years after their time. That formula that they laid down in the 40s and the 50s was for up until the 90s, the 80s and the 90s. Now, the ancestors, the folks of that generation has to come and lay down a formula. What formula have we laid down? I got into an argument with one of my subscribers on TikTok. Felt as though I was disrespecting those that already came and laid their foundation down. How dare you disrespect them? I said, see, I could tell you ain't hear nothing I said. Everything that I said went right over your head. I would never disrespect those that came before us because those are the elders. Those are the ancestors. But what I'm saying is, how long are we going to be caught up on what they done? What have you and I done? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, because you can't believe and you can't think that what they done is supposed to work for the generation that's here now. They don't want to hear nothing about Martin Luther King. Not all of them, but it's a whole lot of them don't want to hear nothing about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Elijah Muhammad, Black Panthers and them. I've seen some content creators who go against blacks, young black people, go against Harriet Tubman. Like, how you gonna go against Harriet Tubman? I've seen them. Go through social media. You'll see the exposing of Harriet Tubman, the exposing of Dr. King, the exposing of Malcolm X, the exposing of the Black Panther Party. How can you sit up here and try to debunk what they laid down? But that just lets you know how far of a gap it is. But the reason why they feel that way about our leaders and our ancestors is because we, Generation X, right? We didn't do anything to contribute to the struggle. Name me one thing that Generation X done to contribute to the struggle. I can name you 3 things that Generation X done to destroy the community: selling dope, gang banging, right? And glorifying the streets. Those are the 3 things that Generation X done. I ain't gonna hold y'all that much longer. Y'all know I can go over and I can start, ranting. But sometimes I feel like I do need to rant, and I do need to deliver this kind of message. Big Mama says it never has mattered and won't, but as long as the laws don't change and examples aren't made from those that commit crimes against us, it won't change. Won't change, y'all. So now we know that Trump, how many years Trump got left? 2 or 3? Now, what's going to happen when Trump get in office? What's going to happen when Trump get out of office? And the next president come in. We're going to blame the next president that come in office. We're going to blame Trump's administration. Y'all see what I'm saying as far as the pointing the finger, the blaming? Sometimes I feel like I'm fighting a no-win battle, y'all. Sometimes I feel like I'm fighting a no-win battle. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Salute. As I said before, Mom Dukes. I'm looking for an interview with Mom Dukes. And as soon as I get a confirmation on an interview, I'll let everybody know. Salute. I will be going live later on this evening. Salute everybody, and I'll see everybody back later on.